Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week. The last Monday of February is February 28th, 2022. Anthony Hartwig with you. The last palindrome of the year, actually. If those of you that don't know what that means, it means you can invert the date, and it's the same frontwards as it is backwards, 2/28/22, same way front and back. So that's your little random fact of the day on Running Point. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as he patiently awaits
all the talk of palindromes and dumb
palindrome. Didn't think we were going to get big words today on Running Point on a Monday. Perfect way to wake you up. Ty, we missed you on Friday, bud.
I have heat again, and I have power in my house again. So, yes, I guess during the ice storm, we had some tree damage to one of our lines, and it went down probably sometime in the middle of the night. My house went down to like 55. And I was like, oh boy. So I had double covered up for the rest of the night when I was going to bed. I had double blankies, but no, I woke up at 8. Still didn't have power on. I was like, I don't know about making this show too. So I had to get my daughter on the bus too.
We could have had you on like the old Sports Center commercial with the Y2K where the power shuts down, and they're doing Sports Center with like the candles and the battery operated headsets with the flashlights in the front. And is there a quarterback controversy in New York? Details next on Sports Center.
I love it. That was basically it though. But we are back. You had a loaded show on Friday though, and a lot you got to get to. So
we had a lot to talk about. We had Romo came on, helped us out, filled your hole a little bit, and then we
it only made it weird because you stopped after you said it. You did. If you just kept going, you would have been able to sweep that under the rug real quickly. Nobody would have drew attention to it.
All right. Refocus.
Thank you, Anthony Romo, for all of your work and helping out on Running Point.
Anyway, we had Coach Watson come on in the last minutes of the show, so that was fun. And then we had a lot of good games on Friday and Saturday. Boys games on Friday. Oh my gosh, was it thriller time in the sectional finals with districts on the line and the boys? We had overtime games. We had big upsets. We had games that went down to the wire, games that probably a lot of people didn't think would be close, ended up being close. Whew.
Yeah, and I mean it was a competitive day of basketball. We saw
yours kind of went ho-hum, so I was surprised because you usually get the thrillers, and yours kind of went, Camo took care of business.
We expected that in the first round, though. I feel like everyone has high expectations for this Camel team, so. I mean, that's to be expected, but hey, I mean, like we've said before, any team can really push anybody. It's all a game of matchups, too, and we saw some teams match up really well with some other teams despite the seeding.
Let's go over the finals for the boys' games on Friday and get you all caught up on where the districts line up for this week. Once again, this week is district semifinals and championship for boys. Girls are in the regionals, so as usual, girls just 1 week ahead, or one round ahead, I should say. Harding got the win over Uniontown, so they're still alive in D1. So is Boardman. They have the win on Saturday. So we have 2 Division I area teams, 1 YSN team alive in Division I. Poland, Streetsboro, overtime, 60-59. The Bulldogs escape, survive, and advance is the name of the game, Ty. You're muted.
Put up a heck of a fight at Streetsboro, but at the end of the day, Poland gets the overtime victory.
Big free throws down the stretch for Poland sealed it. Cheney had no problems at all with these, 74-29. They get the win. Louisville, 53-49 over Canfield. This was a thriller down to the wire as well. And Will Jancic with the exclamation point at the end, buzzer beater dunk to make it a 53-49 win. And just that crowd, when you end a game like that, I mean, it just, the whole gym erupted. The floor was swarmed by the team and the student section. Wow, what a way to end the game.
Yeah, Will Jancic's the real deal, man.
You know, a lot of coaches would have just been like, just dribble the clock out. You know, you had it, you got the steal, game was over. Hard to tell a kid in that moment with all the momentum just to stop and not do what he did, which is go up and throw the dunk down, put an exclamation point on that win.
There's also trouble with dribbling the clock out too. You never know what could happen.
Right.
You went with points over. It wasn't like it was the game was well decided. You went up by 2 possessions and sealed the victory.
It was a buzzer beater dunk. I mean, the buzzer went off as soon as he dunked it. So
credit Canfield though, as they were able to win their first game too, as every team in the AAC won at least their first sectional semifinal or sectional final. And records were kind of scattered, but if you want to know anything about Division I basketball, that kind of gives you a good glimpse into it. Yeah. Division I and Division II, but it also shows you how good that AAC conference is in this area.
Canfield. I mean, they had a shot to tie or take the lead. It didn't work out for them. They had the shot go off. It didn't go in. Jancic got the loose ball and then obviously made that a 4-point game, but Canfield had the shot. You know, that's all you want is the ball in your hands with a chance to tie or take the lead at the end of the game. So that's all you can ask for. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in for you, and that's just how the cookie crumbles.
That is how the cookie crumbles. Great season for Canfield, as still 3 teams alive inside the AAC, but every single team won at least their first game. So props to that conference. Very competitive as usual.
Ty, at the end of the day, basketball comes down to shooting. You know, sometimes you just have a bad shooting night, and unfortunately for West Branch, it popped up in the tournament. They did not shoot well, and they lost to Canton South 43-34. Big upset for the Wildcats. 2 big upsets in a row for Canton South. They move on to the district semifinals, and they'll play Louisville not next week, but this week, tomorrow, I believe, in Canton Glen Oak.
Nobody in that EBC is a pushover and needs to be taken seriously. Top down, it's a very competitive conference. Okay. Canton South proves once again why you can't take those teams lightly.
Don't forget, last year Canton South was the class of the EBC. Like
it switches every year, especially on that boys side, because the girls side it's usually West Branch that's on top. Salem's up there, Marlington, yeah, but like. Boys, it's hot potato. It could be Alliance. It could be Canton South. It could be West Branch. It could be Salem. Like, I mean, these teams these Marlington even too. I mean, these are just great basketball teams that have their up years, their down years, but it's always so competitive. That's why you never know who's coming out on top of it.
Speaking of Marlington, Ursuline went to the Duke's place and beat them 68-61 on the road. Keith Gunther and the Irish, they move on.
Keith Gunther and Ursuline have this unique ability of just being able to win big games down the stretch, win in the tournament. And I mean, it'll be a lot of the reason why Coach Gunther will tell you it's because he coaches up defense first. Offense plays difference for regular season to postseason. It just does. So does defense. Defense plays a lot hard different.
Team to slow down. They played enough defense. I mean, I'm sure Keith Gunther a little bit not pleased with 61 points. He likes to keep teams under 55. You know, that's his mantra, but they did enough. Their offense was scoring really well, 68-61. Ursuline gets to win, and their opponent will be Howland, who upset Struthers 55-50 to end the Struthers Wildcats season and stop them short of the districts. And now Howland will move on to play Ursuline on Wednesday in Ashtabula Lakeside, a place that we're pretty familiar with because we just saw the girls' districts there this week.
Yeah, and you know what? Congratulations to the Howland Tigers as another team from Howland making a little bit of a splash and a big win over Struthers, I will say, too, because Struthers has been one of the top teams, I think, in D2, especially in the area the last couple years. So again, congratulations to Coach Wernicke and the Wildcats. Another great season, another NE8 championship share that they can hang their hats on this year. So another great successful year. But Allen making all the noise coming into the network this year.
No shock at all that senior Anthony Masucci had a big game for the Tigers. I mean, that's just kind of his mantra now.
Dude just is able to put work in.
Going to Division III, Jefferson took care of Conneaut 72-35. The Falcons fly on to districts, and now that they're the lone NE8 champion to be in the tournament still.
We have an interesting possibility of seeing Camel and Jefferson in a final.
High flying offenses. They do it in kind of different ways.
They do it in very different ways. But that's the unique matchups this tournament can bring, because that's one I think I don't know if anybody knows a whole lot about Jefferson. And if you don't, I mean, this is a team that's beaten some of the best. That's a matchup I'd pay money to see.
One name you have to know from Jefferson, and it's the most important one, Bobby Ray.
Dude's able to put up points, man. I mean, these guys, they're going to be an interesting task, and they got another game coming up though, but district semifinal for the Falcons.
LeBray, this game was a little bit more of a lopsided game than I thought. I thought Southeast would put up a big fight against LeBray, but LeBray took care of them, 61-45. They move on to the next round. Big win for the Vikings.
Yeah, and I mean, LeBray has showed that they have the ability to boat race a lot of teams. I mean, I'm looking here, 97 points of offense that they've scored on this season at 1.2. I think they've been over 73 4 times. I mean, it's a team that's able to put up points offensively, too. They've had a couple hiccups in the road, but not too many, too. And they've looked really good towards the end of the season. Ever since that one loss to Camel at Camel, they've kind of refocused, resharpened up. And then the only other loss they've had since that stretch was a very close, good game against Howland. So, I mean, this is LeBray looking really good towards the end.
Let's close out those D3 of finals. Springfield takes care of East Palestine, 77-31. Garfield takes care of Newton Falls, 44-35. Big win over an MVAC team for Garfield. Camel, we talked about it. They had no troubles at all with Rootstown, 78-43. Liberty beat South Range 55-44 in a game where South Range had the lead for the whole first half. Liberty kind of put it together in the second half and ran away with it. Mooney got all they could handle from Crestview, 49-43. The Cardinals come away with the win. But great Crestview effort going on the road and pushing Cardinal Mooney to the brink.
I mean, this is pretty similar to what you talked about with the South Range Waterloo girls game. I'll put that same thing with this boys program. It's a Crestview boys program that's a proud program. And even though they had a down year this year, when you go into the tournament and you have to play Crestview, you got to bring A game to try to come over top of them. Crestview brought their A game and they threw their best shot at the Cardinals. Cardinals were able to get just enough offense to pull it out.
We'll get to the Division IV finals in a bit, but first we have to take some time to welcome in some district champion coaches in the next several 15-minute blocks, because we have first John Matizzi, district champion from Springfield, head coach of the girls program over there. Coach, 36-31, you get the win over Maplewood. First of all, congratulations, and thank you again so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I mean, first and foremost, a low-scoring game, but, I mean, you guys haven't been strangers to these down the stretch. You've been in a lot of hard-fought defensive grudge matches. Just talk to me a little bit about what you saw from your girls last night and what you thought the keys to victory were.
Just a great game, low-scoring game, defensive game. Maplewood's been playing as well as anybody these last couple months. They struggled early. They played some bigger schools, but, I mean, they really put it together down the stretch. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy. They're very well coached. They had a great game plan. And I think we just made enough plays, at the end to pull it out.
Coach, when you look at a district championship for this team, put into words what it kind of means to this program to call themselves district champions, to get that trophy and to hold it up in a year that I know has been a lot more ups than downs, but it has had its ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, it was just, I can't say enough about, I got so many texts during that day just about the last time it was done, people wishing us good luck. And then, we walked into the gym getting off the bus and we had fans there, cheering us, just walking in, and just the atmosphere. It it was, I can't, it's almost hard to put into words how awesome that night was. I mean, just from the game to afterwards, getting the escort home, there's people lined up on the street, honking their horns, as we're coming back to the school. I just, just to see the excitement from everybody, I'm just so happy, happy for the kids, happy for the community that we got to experience something like that.
One player to be very excited about, JC Mullen. We've had a chance to have her on and talk with her before, but I want to hear from your perspective now, Coach, what it means to have someone of her caliber on the team that can go out and get you pretty much 20 any given night, and kind of the luxury also of knowing you got her for another year.
Yeah, she's just so tough. I mean, her rebounding numbers are crazy this year. I mean, to even go with the scoring, she's something where if a play breaks down, if we get a bad shot, if we don't exactly get into a set correctly, it's something where, she comes up with a loose ball, she comes up with a rebound, we can still get 2 points. I mean, that's a big part of why we score she's cleaning up the mess. She's cleaning up around the rim. Really just able to do anything we need her to offensively. I mean, she was a leading scorer. Saturday night, she had 11 to 36. I mean, that's like having 20-25 in a normal game.
And then Maddie Lesnack adds 9, and she's someone that can score, definitely does score when she needs to, but has been such a good job at distributing the ball, getting players where they need to be, and being one of your main ball handlers this year. Talk about what she's meant to the team as we go into more of your players and breaking down what they've meant to this district championship.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be prouder of Maddie. We asked her to run the point for us early in the year. Looking at our roster, we thought she was our best option. And so we asked her to do it. We asked her to maybe sacrifice a little bit of scoring to get us into sets, to be able to run the show, to be able to handle the ball, break pressure, everything that comes with being a point guard. And she's gotten better every day. And just to watch her from, when we first asked her to do it to Saturday, we told her at halftime, it's going to be loud out there. We can't hear us. We can't get into sets. You got to do it. And just coming out that second half, she's calling plays. She's getting us into offense. She's really embraced that. And just to watch, like I said, from beginning till Saturday was, can't say enough about how she embraced that role and she developed.
Talking about development and kind of staying on that track, talk to me about the biggest point of development that you've seen from this team from game 1 of the season to this point now that we have a full regular season under our belt.
Mm-hmm. I would say, defense really, our offense is going to be what it is. We like to go through the post. We like to do different things, but defensively, really understanding a game plan, being able to dig in, on a 2-day prep, that's during the season you play, Monday you get 2 days, you play Thursday, you get 2 days. So really embracing that and being able to do all kinds of different things. I mean, we have a couple different presses. We have a couple different half court things that we like to do. And just to be able to say, all right, for this game, we're going to do, these are the 3 things on the list that we're going to look at, and just have them accept it and go. I mean, that Friday night was probably our best night of practice all year. So then to come in Saturday and be able to execute, hold them to 31, hold down a couple really good players. I think we needed, those experiences during the year of maybe not doing that so well, got us to where we were Saturday.
You guys have more time to prep than other teams in other divisions. You're not playing until Thursday down in Massillon Perry in the regionals, but I'm sure you still have got plenty of chances to look at Buckeye Central in the day that you've been district champions and trying to break down kind of what they're about and what they do well. Talk about this team and what challenges they kind of possess and what it's going to take on Thursday to get a win.
Well, that's perfect segue because it's going to be defense. Just watching film, we have obviously film from their district games. We have a few other films, and they shoot the lights out. I mean, they're a team that you're watching them anytime you're off, anytime they drive and kick, anytime, you leave them, you don't got a hand up. They're shooting it and they're making them. So it's going to be defense, getting out, contesting everything, making sure we're not letting girls get around us, and just really, it's going to be solid individual defense. It's going to be when we're helping, we got to make sure we're rotating. It's not a stretch to say they're the best offensive team we've seen all year.
Coach, you mentioned the crowd before, and I'm going to bring up the Springfield community and Springfield faithful again. Anybody that's from Springfield, anyone that coaches, or anyone that's even involved in the programs down there know that almost any sports program, it doesn't matter what program, what side of the program you're on, they seem to get support. And you mentioned that support following you. What does it mean to you as a coach, and what can you speak on from the player's perspective and what it means to just get that support constantly? And when those neutral games don't feel like neutral games, they feel like home games, and even road games can feel like home games sometimes.
Yeah, one of our parents took a great picture of they were on the opposite side and just took a picture of our side of the stands, and it was just a block of people. There weren't any seats, there weren't any. It was just a wall of people, and I mean that just when you can look up and see that, it's just so great. Probably my lasting memory from Saturday of the game itself will be, we're up 5 at the end of the game. They're trying to run offense. 2 minutes to go, they're trying to score, and just how loud our crowd was. They can't hear each other. They can't hear anything. They're trying to get set up. They can't. And I mean, it impacts the game, so something like that is just, I'll always remember that.
Coach, now the stage gets bigger, the gym gets bigger. That Maslin Perry gym can get a handful on you real quick. It's big, it's wide, it's got double deck stands, all the things that you expect from a regional game. And we talked about in the beginning of this interview how it's the first time this program has been there in quite a bit. What's the game plan for handling the stage and making sure the girls don't make too much of it, and trying to keep it as low key as possible?
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be nerves. There's no way around it. Not having been there, we're just hoping that some of our big games earlier in the year will carry us. I look to our game at Waterloo. We lost by 1. We didn't shoot the ball from the free throw line. We were 3 for 14. That was probably the most hostile road environment we were in all year. And I feel like without that, maybe we don't win a district. Without that experience, I don't know if we go on a run, just because we lost games, previously in the year, but I really don't think we were as disappointed as we were after that Waterloo game. That was really, I think, as down as the kids were, and understanding that we really have to lock in after that. And since that loss, I mean, our practices have been great. We've been playing really well. So I'm hoping that experience kind of carries us. It will. I mean, you said it's going to take a minute, look around, take it in, and then just get it out of your system, and we got to play.
A lot of coaches will tell us too that the kids will actually teach them as much as they teach the kids. So in saying that, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself from these kids this season?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I don't know. It's
You
just,
stumped them.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. You caught me off guard with that one. Just, I guess, how to, like I talked earlier with Maddie, making that change at point guard, different things that came up during the year. I mean, obviously with COVID stuff, just being a communicator more than anything, X's and O's stuff. Anybody can run different offenses, different defenses, it's kind of how you communicate, how you get the kids to buy in, how you play. And I think that's something that, has had to be brought out this year for myself, from our staff. So that's what I would say.
Good. I know you've spent a lot of time on the boys' side before doing getting this job as the head coach of the girls' side. Do you think there's more of the communication versus X's and O's on the girls' side than the boys' side, especially when you have to make adjustments mid-season like you have this year? Do you think there's a little bit of difference in how you communicate those adjustments you have to make, and how you've had to grow in learning how to do that?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's too much different. There's maybe a little more, as crazy as it sounds, probably a little more X's and O's on the girls' side, just because you can scheme a little more to take players out of it. It's tougher to shut somebody, a really good boys player down, I think, than it is a really good girls player. But I wouldn't say it's much different. I was very fortunate with the boys that, Coach Fender, Coach French, they're tremendous communicators, and just to be able to watch them for 6 years do it, I really took a lot from them that we've tried to then implement now with the girls.
Talking about the Matese name inside of coaching, I think it runs so deep. There's so many Mateses coaching all over the sport of basketball. Just talk to me, though, a little bit about just who some of your role models were growing up. What kind of got you into this love for coaching? I feel like I could take some guesses, but what got you into this love for coaching? And what's kept you in it for so long?
Yeah, well, we said, obviously, my dad. I mean, going to practices when we're young with him, doing the film, doing different stuff. We would sit there Saturday mornings and do the stats before they had huddle, before they had any of that stuff. And so just moving up with him, coaching elementary at Louisville, coaching JVs with him, doing the book, different things like that. It's just, you just get into that routine, and it's not, winter comes, it's not winter, it's basketball season. Spring comes, it's not spring, it's open gym. Summer, you have, your camps, and it's just, that's the schedule you're on. I mean, he's been coaching since before I was born, and that's just kind of what we've always done. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Coach, I guess before we let you go, I guess the big question to segue from that is, has he given you any advice yet about, being in the regionals? Obviously, he made a deep run last year, and has he kind of reached out and given you any nice advice about what to do in this regional level?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I was up there last night, up at my parents' house, and, we're watching a little film, doing different things, talking about it. So it's just a constant, I told him if he has any suggestions, let me know after watching some of their film. But it's always, it's a daily, every other day kind of thing where we're checking in, seeing how we're doing, how the team's feeling, both ways. And just to have that resource. I mean, I had Coach French was at the game. Coach Fender texted me in the morning. So it's just, not only my dad, but those two, speaking of role models. I mean, I've been incredibly fortunate who I've gotten to coach with during my career. And now, being able to do it, carrying all that stuff with me with the girls is just, has been great.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and previewing this game a little bit and giving us another insight into what went into that district championship game. We wish you the best of luck this week, and hopefully we'll get you back on and we can talk about a regional championship.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Coach John Matese. Moving on, the only Division IV team left on the girls' side. They will play at Maslin Perry on Thursday against Buckeye Central and try to get into the regional final.
Teeth get sharpened like iron when you play in the MVAC, and that's exactly what we're seeing from the Tigers. And must be really nice too with having so many coaches in the Matese name too, because it's like you don't just have to go to Coach Matese from John Matese from McDonald. Even you could go so many different places. Tony Matese from McDonald, excuse me. You could go there. You got Mike Matese down in Southeast. There's so many different minds to bounce things off of. And it probably
John has
helps.
his own brother on his staff, so he's got his own brother that he can look at for guidance too. Hey, we're no rest for the weary. We go from one district champion to the other, and back to Garrettsville. I feel like this is becoming a mainstay. Coach Gilbert coming back on 2 days in a row. Had you on Friday, and
I'm going to drive your ratings down, unfortunately, because people are, I don't want to see that guy again.
No way. Everyone loves Coach Gilbert out of Garfield. They love talking to you. We love talking to you. Thank you so much for making the time and giving us more of your time.
Absolutely.
Celebrate this district championship game, Coach. I guess we just start off with, this is against the champion. The rivalry is what it is, but this game was a little bit different than the other two. What was the difference from your side, and what do you think it took to get this win on Saturday?
I think the big thing with Saturday was I told the girls, I said, it's going to be somebody that doesn't appear on scouting report. Somebody's going to have to step up. And I think if you look at our scoring line, definitely we had some people that weren't on scouting report. You're going to get consistency out of Sarah and Jenna. But, you look at how, Sydney came out, had double figures. You look at what Kate was able to do. You look at what Shirky was able to do. And then coming off the bench, you look at what Nora, not a lot of points, but good quality minutes, 4 big points when we needed them, free throws and putback when we needed it. So, and when you get to tourney time, everybody's looking at max preps. Everybody's getting on and looking at your statistical leaders. So they're game planning to shut those couple kids down. And it's all about, who's going to be the other, who's going to step up that they're not ready for. And, for us, thankfully, it was everybody really, everybody, all 7 of them get big contributions.
With the success that Garrettsville has had the last few years too, and I mean you being a large part of that, do you feel any sort of pressure going into the seasons and especially come tournament time to kind of uphold that tradition of winning and maintaining a level of success for it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a pressure thing, but it's getting the kids to understand. It's like, look, you're the red letter game on everybody's schedule now. You're a returning district champ, you're a returning league champ, you're a regional qualifier. Even though in some cases it's a completely new roster, you're the game. When they beat you, they celebrate, and people look at like, why? This was just game 3 of the season or game 4 of the season. Why are they jumping up and down? Because you're the target. It's no different than when somebody goes in and beats Duke or beats Gonzaga or beats, not that we're a Duke or Gonzaga, but it's the feeling when you get that team that's, trying to establish something or looking for that springboard in the season. We've become that. And it's not easy for them always to realize that, you can't have a bad night. It's 23 guaranteed games. You can't have a bad game, because that's going to be the game, and everybody is gunning for it. Everybody's going to play their best game. They may only have to get up for the 1 or 2 times they play you. We've got to get up for all 23, because all 23 are gunning for us.
Coach, when you look at back to this champion game real quick, and I think you said it, you got contributions from everybody, but both superstars of both teams kind of did what they were supposed to do. Jenna Smith scored like she does, and then Ava Howell on champion side at 22. But it came down to, like you said, the other players on the team that aren't on the scouting report. Talk about how proud you are of your quote-unquote role players for coming up and giving the support and making this game a little bit less stressful.
Yeah. I mean, and that's sometimes hard for the kid to understand that, we might not need your offense tonight. We need your defense, which means you might not score a single point, but we're going to need some rebounds out of you. We're going to need some assists. We're going to need you to play, some defense on this player. And it takes some special kids to put their egos aside and realize that if they look up, if they have those trackers on their scoreboard and look up and see zeros in their column and be able to understand that the bigger picture is getting the W. And it's one thing that we talk to the players. We don't specifically go player to player and say, I need these specific statistics out of you tonight. But we know our personal formula for what we need to be successful. And so we kind of keep that in the back of our mind. And then I think as the year goes on, I think the players who have developed into role players understand, look, this is my role. However, if the situation, like Sydney, situation came up for her to score, she was right there ready to score. So, you just never know. And I think that's one thing that we as a coaching staff have done over the years is talk to the players to get them to understand is, we've had the Grace Mills, we've had the Grayson Roses, we've had the Lauren Jones over the years, and you can't win 1-on-5. And, they're going to double team Jenna. They're going to double team Sarah. So somebody else is going to be open. And I pointed that out to them in practice on Thursday and Friday. Be like, look, you might not want to hear this, but they don't want to guard. They're not going to guard you. Like, they're going to double off of you to go get somebody else. So how are you going to make them pay for that? Are you going to get an extra assist? Are you going to score? And, Sydney's one of those people who said, okay, I'll shoot the ball, because we know she's a capable shooter. It all fell on Saturday for her.
Coach, I heard there was some post-game dancing going on your end.
And unfortunately video, but we're not sharing that sucker.
We gotta hear about like what came about this. Was it like something that the team wanted you to do? And you said,
it was 100% the team. It is not something that's in character for me to do. That's the one thing. Every group is special. I love this group. Like, I am going to be, when it does end, which could be any of the next 4 games, potentially 4 games, it's going to hurt. It's just this group has grown. They've grown together. They like each other. They've been together for a really long time, a lot of them at the varsity level, but even as those 4 seniors, they've been playing together since 4th and 5th grade. That's a long time to be together. Some are together in multiple sports. And it's just one of those things. And, they said, hey, if we win on Saturday, you've got to do it. You got to do the gritty. And I'm just like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. And then of course, the lights are on. It's like, oh boy, you got to go and do this. And so, if that's what keeps them motivated to go get a win, sure, I'll make a fool of myself. I don't care. It's just like going in the dunk tank and letting them, dunk you. Like, I don't care. I'll take the pie in the face or whatever. If that's the motivation that they want or need to go out and play a little harder, sure. And I think that's one of the big differences that I found over the years. This is year 15 coaching girls. I coached boys for 8 years before that. Granted, now that's a long time ago, it seems, but just little things have meant more coaching on the girls' side, like just doing little things, even if it's you making a fool of yourself, seems to kind of get a little bit more burst of energy out of the girls' program than it did when I was a boys' coach. I know at the end of the year, a banquet-wise, the coaches' gifts, I never got coaches' gift as a boys' coach, but as a girls' coach, my God, those kids spoil the coaches. Whether it be a gift card or a frame picture, the most meaningful thing is when they do some sort of collage picture, that just the memories that they have. And then of course the stories. But, like I said, if it takes me acting like a little fool to get them motivated for a win, sure, I'll do it. That's fine.
Did they have to explain to you what the gritty was?
Oh, no. They were showing me TikToks and they were showing me plenty of things. I was cleanly aware of it between the NFL and other institutions that are out there that are doing it. I just don't do it very well. So I have zero rhythm in this body. So
Coach, talking about the fact that 4 teams of the MVAC Grayside were in the final 8 for their 2 respective districts in the region. We talked about how hard this conference was, but you guys coming into this conference this year, talk to me about how well you think this conference has prepared you for these non-conference tournament games that you have to face. Obviously playing champion a 3rd time, and there might be a Liberty team waiting on the other side too if you win this one.
Yeah, I think this conference is good. I know there were some gripes outside when we left the PTC, just from the traditionalists, the people that have always had that backyard rivalry with the teams. But in the end, from where the direction that the Portage was going in was not in our favor athletically. I just don't think it was a good situation with who was leaving and who was coming in. And you had the Mahoning, who was just, there were some built-in rivalries that were there, and night in, night out. You've got to bring your A game. Anybody can beat anybody. And then when you see your top 4 teams on your side go, and I know a handful of teams on the Scarlet side, were playing in that as well. And I just think that's a testament to the league commissioners for putting this together and putting competitive teams together along with some rivalries. But yeah, when we built the schedule non-conference, it was a grind. And then you throw in our conference, like, my God, I looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season. I'm like, we win 12 games. This would be a heck of a job if we can just win 12. Just because I knew night in, night out. And especially when, the schedule rotates within the league. So you just don't know. And our 3 in a row was, LeBray, Champion, Liberty, all 3 in a row, I believe, or Champion, Liberty, Brookfield, some combination of that. It's like, you're going, Monday, Wednesday, Monday with those 3 is like, you don't have any time to rest. But I think it did prepare us being in close games, playing different styles. Looking at Orangeville Heights, they're almost a clone of Liberty, maybe a little longer. But now when we go in and watch Scouting Report, it's easy to compare. It's like, okay, this is like so-and-so from Liberty, or this person's like so-and-so from Liberty. So, I just think it's a testament to the league. Like I said before, our 6 losses, all we're playing for district titles, and 4 of them are in regionals. So, we upped our schedule. I think basketball is one of those sports that everybody gets in the tournament. So, don't chase wins. Chase some quality competition. I know Fish has done that for years at South Range with loading his schedule. Poland loads their schedule, just some area people that I'm familiar with. And it's just like, you're not penalized for losses. Like, football, you need the computer points, but basketball, like, go, because you just, it's prepared us. I know in 2015 when we made the regional final. Our only Division III loss was in the regional final at Chippewa. That's it. All our other losses were twos or a four that made it pretty far. But it's like, I think same thing with 2017. Our only Division III loss was in the regional final. So it's like, up your schedule. Don't play a D1 that is going to go 0-21. I mean, people are going to know, but it doesn't hurt to put yourself in a game because it's in the end, it's going to make you better.
And you look at this region. I mean, 3 of the 4 teams that were there last year are there again this year.
Yeah.
And this time you get the other side of it where you didn't get to play Warrensville Heights last time. You were matched up with Waynedale.
Right.
But you look at this Warrensville Heights team, you mentioned it a little bit there. They're very similar to Liberty. They do a lot of the same things. What I like to see, they're high in talent, higher in speed. What kind of challenges do they face? You've seen some film, and what do you think it's going to take to get this win in Cuyahoga Falls?
I mean, they've got 3 phenomenal players. The point guard, she'll pull it from anywhere. And then, with Thomas, I mean, what was she, the Gigi Bryant State of Ohio award winner at All-Star Weekend or something like that. And she's, coming in averaging 30. But she kind of is a player that's everywhere. And then you got Bohannon coming in from Trinity. We've played her in AAU, so I at least know of who she is. And she's long shot blocker who can, score from multiple positions. They've got another big 6'2" post who, statistically doesn't have a lot of numbers, but she's always around the rim. And then it's like they've got a defensive specialist in the Johnson girl. And it's like, I think they're a similar team to us in the sense that they have, 3 really good players, and then they have some role players who have bought into their roles, and that's what's carried them. I mean, the Elyria Catholic game was a grind back and forth watching that. Elyria Catholic had their chances, but these girls, I mean, you're down 2 with 7 seconds to go, and you sink 3 free throws to win the game. I mean, that's some ice in your veins there. So we know that their girls are battle tested. And then playing in, I think it's the Senate League, City League, the Cleveland League. They're night in, night out playing athlete after athlete. And they play some good non-conference teams, with Notre Dame Academy and Toledo Rogers that, push them. So, being on a big stage is not going to scare them. They were in this game last year. I'm sure they're salty still about last year with South Range beating them. So, they've got that axe to grind. We were there last year and we're, a little wounded from what Waynedale did to us last year. So, I think that's both teams are going to come in with something to prove. But yeah, they don't do a lot, but what they do really well. And if we just go athlete for athlete, we're not going to win. I mean, if we just try to athlete, we have to execute. We have to do little things. We've got to set physical screens. We have to rebound the ball. We've got to get back on defense. We've got to follow scouting report. When we say to cover it this way, we've got to cover it that way. I think we have some wrinkles that will give them some problems. But their length, you get into the paint, you're shooting over, they put their arms up, you're shooting over 3 7-footers. When they're just straight up, we don't have that kind of height. So, we just need to be us, not let the stage be too big, not let the moment be too big, and just be us. And I think we'll be all right. It's just, it's a great opportunity to showcase our program. The cool thing when you get to the regional level, as well as like district championship game is you get people who have no horse in the race. You get people who just come up and want to watch basketball. So as a program, you want to represent, you want to put your program out there for people to see when they talk about Garfield and be like, oh, hey, all right, we can see this team, because a lot of people don't know us. And now hopefully we're, kind of making our name known.
They know, and they know you now, Coach. We know you very well. We can't wait for the game. We'll have coverage down there as Alec Caberna will be in Cuyahoga Falls for that call. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We look forward to your continued success, and hopefully we can talk to you again in a couple of days about a regional final game.
Yeah, that would be great. I did see a little dip in the graph on the ratings though when my name popped up at 12:30.
You know
I saw that thing go down a little bit. So hopefully
people
will pop back up at 12:45 for the next guest. So
Walt's next, so his is gonna pop right back up.
Yeah, it will. So yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, you guys have just done a tremendous job just exposing our program, exposing all the programs. Like just people didn't do it. This is, again, one of the benefits of being in this league is getting guys like you to put our names out there and let people know, we've got a quality product that we appreciate everything you do.
Coach, we appreciate the time that you give us to help us do that, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Without further ado, we go from one district champion right on to another one, and it's Walt DeShields, who's been in this situation before. And Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Busy day today, so 15 minutes about all I can give you right now. I mean, they give us one day to prepare, basically. I mean, yesterday we spent a lot of time watching film, had a team dinner, and watched a little bit of Norton there, and they're a good team. I mean, Coach Miller does a great job there. But yeah, one day to prepare, and tomorrow night's going to be exciting.
Coach, I'll let Ty go.
Okay, sorry. Coach, I just want to talk about this Marlington game real quick, too. Going off of the loss that you had in the regular season going into this tournament one, we know it's very hard to beat a team multiple times in a season, especially when you play them 3 times, too. There's no secrets about each other. What do you think the keys to the victory were against the Lady Dukes, and what did you really see that your team did well in that game?
Well, I think we just kept, improving. I mean, and from that last game 22, where they beat us by double digits to win the league championship, that kind of stuck in our girls a little bit to motivate them going into tournaments, to maybe get another chance at them. I mean, we knew we had some games to play, and Poland was sitting there in our way, and and so you had to take it one game at a time to get to them. And I think once we got to them, our girls were really excited with that opportunity to maybe cut the nets down too, and get that after the game. I mean, they envisioned that, and seeing Marlington do it in their home gym to win the league, we just wanted to do it there. And our girls really did a great job of execution, both at offense and defensive ends of things we asked them to do. And we changed a little bit up. We changed some matchups a little bit. We had Anna Lippiott move over from the Mason girl over to Warner, and Anna did a great job there. And we put Hannah Egley on Mason, and Hannah did a great job there defensively, doing a great job. And we mixed up a lot of stuff on Evanich. We tried to limit her touches completely, and we started out with Mercer on her. But with her ankle injury, we wanted to kind of limit that a little bit. And then we put Sophie Gregory on her and mixed and matched that a little bit. But offensively, if you're making shots and you're taking care of the basketball, a lot of good things can happen for you. And just exciting for the girls because they've worked so hard to improve all year.
Man, Sophie Gregory gets a lot of talk about her offense, but I got to just let you talk about the defensive effort that she did when she was matched up with Evanich. There were a couple of block shots, a couple of really tough shots that Chelsea Evanich made a couple of them because she's that good. But man, what a defensive performance from Sophie Gregory.
Yeah, they're both great players, and they're both very deserving to be the best players in our league, and they're only sophomores. Imagine that for the people, fans and stuff, to be able to watch those two play for the next couple of years and go at it with two good teams. And I, recall, you don't remember everything because you're trying to game plan and watch everybody, but I recall Evanich making a big time shot down the stretch over Sophie, and we couldn't believe she got it off over top of her, but that shows her toughness and her abilities. And then, a couple possession or two later, the same situation, trying to make that tough shot over, and Sophie rejected it. And that was a huge, huge finish to that game to help us complete that game and get down the stretch and make foul shots with Anna Lippiott. But yeah, it was an exciting individual battle. And sometimes you have those battles on the floor. It is a team sport, but that one-on-one within the game that a lot of people don't see is so important, and those matchups are so critical.
Coach, we just had Coach Gilbert on too, talked about the MVAC and that tough conference. I want to talk about you guys competing in the EBC. Of course, Marlington was in the district finals with you guys, but also you have Salem on the other side too. Just talk about competing in this conference too and how it helps getting you guys ready for the tournament.
Well, first of all, with Coach Gilbert, congratulations. We beat him that first game, and I told him, you're still going to be really good, and you'll see by the end of the season how good you are. And he was down after our defeat, and he, and I texted him. I said, I told you were going to be good. And well, best of luck. I hope he makes it to Dayton. He does a great job over there. I don't know. I can't check. I'm not techie like he is, so he's a lot younger than I am. How do you check ratings? I mean, are my ratings going up? Or are they going down even more?
No, I think he was just joking, but I'm sure both of your ratings are sky high because people love hearing from both of you.
We'll have to check with New York here pretty soon. But anyway, the EBC, we play a tough schedule outside the conference, but with our league being tough inside the conference now, and every year it's different teams. I mean, I've talked quite a bit about that. We've been pretty lucky to be consistent and reload, and whether it's talent or just hard working, we've just competed for a lot of years. And but it's been more than just Marlington. Right now it's Marlington, Salem. It's been Carrollton before, back in 15 when Trimmer and them went to, and Paven Heath went to state. It was Carrollton was our rivalry. Prior to that, I remember Northwest being really good back in the NBC days when I first started. They were going to regionals a lot. Canton South had Siobhan Robinson, who played at OU and now coaches, and they had a great team. I think they were ranked number 4 in the state. And Minerva had some great players. Lindsay Shear played at Kent State, 6'2" center. Chelsea Butler went down, and she played at Marquette. And there's another 6'3" center Minerva had. So, hey, it just comes and goes. It goes up and down. It's a great conference. It always has been. If you remember back, and our girls, they didn't even know it today. And I was talking to them at lunch, and they said, hey, last time West Branch won a state championship, Salem won the district. And I said, yeah. And they were down in Columbus too. And they were only a couple points in overtime away from it being a Salem West Branch state all-state championship final, because they went to 2 different regions that year. West Branch went to Ontario out west, and Salem won the Barberton one. And they are really, really close to facing each other in the state championship. Imagine 2 teams 6 miles apart playing for that game in 2004, and Hamilton was on that team. So right. the coaches at Barberton, you got Hamilton, who was a player on a state team, and she's coaching in the first time in 18 years, taking them to the regional. You got Brian Miller, who's been there 7 out of the last 11 years in Norton, and we've never played them. Either we got beat or they got beaten. We never. All these years, we've been there 6 out of the last 9 years, and we've never played each other. We've seen each other and know each other really well, but have never played each other. And then,
I was about to say.
And then finally, you got Kevin Lauer. What a great guy! He emails me, hey, congratulations, coach, on your district title and all that. That's the kind of guy he is. And I said, hey, you learned from a great mentor in your dad. His dad was a longtime boys coach at Northwest, Jim Lauer, and just a quality guy. And he's turned that Northwest girls program into, last couple of years, they've been playing really well too.
They got the big upset over St. Vincent, St. Mary's, and I know they're really excited about that. And anytime you beat a team that everyone thinks is a powerhouse, that can really spark some juice into your veins. Let's talk about your game, though. You've never played Norton before, but you've seen them on film. I know you've watched film. What kind of challenges do they face you guys, and what's it going to take to win this game in Barberton?
Well, they just do a super job of pressuring the ball, full court and half court man. I know they're going to be really physical. We scrimmaged them actually early in the year and tied 1 quarter 10-10 over at Dalton. We see them every summer at Barberton, and we have battles there. It's going to be a physical game. They're a real aggressive team, and they use that style of play to their advantage. We feel like they're very similar to Salem. And, we've lost twice to Salem. So our girls are going to have to do a really good job of taking care of the basketball and being strong with the ball, and being tough on our finishes and making some open shots, because when you run around trapping everybody, you give up some shots if you can get it out of the trap. Offensively, they got a great point guard in Shesta. She's a 1,000-point scorer for them. She breaks you down off the dribble. She can shoot it. She can drive and make things happen for her team. They got some post players that'll rebound, and they got some spot up shooters. So you get to each game you go, it gets tougher. And it's a matter of, I think all 4 teams in this region can go to Dayton. It's just a matter of who makes the plays and maybe makes the big one down the stretch, throughout the game and takes care of the ball and all that stuff. I mean, you can go back to just fundamental basketball now, day one in the gym. And, so that we compare them to Salem, and I think Northwest is a lot like us. You look at that score against St. V, they kept the score down, held the ball a little bit. Low scoring game was to their advantage, but it's half court versus full court, and who can control the tempo.
Coach, I know your time is limited, so before we let you go, I do want you to speak on one of your seniors that we got a chance to interview, and hopefully we'll have the time to play that on this show before we get out of here. But Sydney Mercer has been with your program for 4 years, one athlete, plays volleyball, basketball, softball, planning on playing both in college, softball and volleyball. Talk about what it's been like to coach her over the last 4 years and what she's meant to this program, and how proud you are to continue her career at least one more game.
Well, I told her at lunch she did a great job in that interview, and some of the things I tell her in practice or in the locker room, she is listening. Sometimes I don't think so. They're teenagers, but she's listening, and she did a great job at that interview, and proud of her for that. I met Sydney a long time ago at basketball camp when she was younger, and we knew that class didn't have a lot of people that were eventually going to play, but we thought she was a great athlete. And could move really well and strong and physical. It's been just a great relationship over the 4 years, and really it's been longer than that. You get to meet these kids when they're little. They come to camp when they're in 2nd or 3rd grade, or we start them even in 1st grade sometimes. Some parents will bring them in the gym. And it's just exciting to see them grow as a young lady and mature and stuff like that. And she'll do great at Mount Union, right next to us. We'll get a chance to see her play volleyball and softball. And she knows her time's going to be limited on studies. I want to talk about another senior too, Anna Lippiott. I mean, just her second half of the season, and especially in tournaments, she has stepped up her play. Anna's one of those girls that we knew coming up who could play for us. And she started as a freshman, just a tall guard that can shoot it with a lot of skills, very quiet girl. She's getting better at that. She's going to play at Muskingum University. I think she'll do a great job playing basketball there. Just 2 quality ladies that have learned from the beginning of the year. And I just, to finish, I want to mention, the most exciting thing for a coach is not about the wins or losses or anything like that. It's about the relationships and, wrapping those gold medals around each and every girl. We had 17 girls, not all of them dressed. We rotate that. They all decided to stay. We gave them the option to go to spring sports or just, come to practice. And none of them said no. That's the type of team we have. That's the type of girls we have. And putting that gold medal around them and then seeing them walk up that ladder one at a time and cut a piece of net. That's all that hard work from the summer. You see individuals improve as a coach, and you see your team improve. We always talk about peaking and playing our best basketball in March. It is March Madness now. Tomorrow's March 1st. And we feel like we're playing really good basketball, but it was all that hard work in the gym, of improving from the summer to the preseason to throughout the season. We had some tough losses. Canfield destroyed us game 2 after that win against Garfield. And then, we lost a tough one by 1 point to Salem at home, and that was a tough loss. And we got a great win against Marlington at the buzzer. Those wins and losses built our character as a team. And I, as coaches, we see those girls improving and continuing to work, because you got to, as throughout the long season, you got to get better. And we've gotten better, even from, 2.5 weeks ago when we lost a big one at Marlington. We've gotten a lot better since then.
Coach,
that's exciting for me to see.
We thank you so much for the time. We know that it's limited. We know you got one day to prepare, but we appreciate your time always. We love talking to you, and we wish you the best of luck tomorrow in Barberton. And hopefully, we can get you back on and talk about a regional championship too.
Yep. That would be great. That would be awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Ty. Good talking to you. Anthony, good talking to you. We'll see you.
Thank you, Coach, for your time as always.
Thank you.
Walt the Shields, he has won 6 district championships in the last 10 years, back in Barberton, back in regionals, as they try to get back to the state tournament for the first time since 2 years ago. Remember, they were asked to leave the floor because the state tournament got canceled before their semifinal even was played. So 2 years removed from that, and here they are in the regionals again.
And you talk about sports that are grind. I mean, look at the winter sports and look at basketball. And I mean, it's a long ride to get here. I mean, you're talking right now, West Branch first game all the way back in November? Beginning of November.
Like the week before Thanksgiving, most teams started.
You go from November all the way to March. I mean, it's a 5-month season if you make it this far. I mean, it's a long, grueling season, almost a half a year too. But I mean, it's a lot of emotions and a lot of hard work invested into it too. And when you get down to this, I mean, this is the exciting time of the season, but just know that it was months of work that got these teams to this point.
And the girls that aren't dressing still want to be a part of it. That tells you how special the program is, even though they've been through the grind just like everybody else. They still want to stay. They don't want to move on to the spring sport. They just want to stay and be a part of this ride as long as they can be there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great time too. I obviously love basketball season. As we start to wrap things up too, less and less teams, but we have a few YSN teams still moving on and kicking and fighting.
5 girls teams in regionals, and 4 of them are in the same. Well, 4 of them are in the same spot, but I didn't want to say that and think that they're all 4 in the same. So 2 of them are in Barberton, 2 of them are in Cuyahoga Falls. So that knocks
that's
2
and
one
3.
night.
And then we have
Springfield in Maslin Perry down there in Division 4. But man,
it's Liberty, it's Garfield, it's
West
Springfield, it's West Branch and Salem. Yeah. So I mean, these teams we've been kind of talking about all season long, and I think all of them power ranked at the end of the season.
Yes,
all of them, I believe.
All the ones. Well, let's hold on.
Let's double check.
We can bring this up. Because we still have the images from the last week of the power rankings. So let's
bring it up real quick. Salem was 1. West Branch.
West Branch 1. Yep.
Liberty, Springfield,
Garfield. They're all in the power rankings.
All 5 of them.
All still playing.
Garfield, Springfield, 2 9 and 10 seeds that really look good, but that have really looked good in this postseason. But you got to remember, I think Springfield, looking at this, Anthony, the only D4 team on there.
Yeah, and they're the only D4 team that won a district.
2 teams this season as well.
Right. Only D4 team to win a district this year in YSN, and they're the only D4 team in the power rankings.
And we said, too, out of all those MVAC teams, because we said those 4 were very good, we said you're going to rank one of them 10 because Liberty got their spot, we felt, but it was between Garfield, Brookfield, and Champion. And we said, who's the best team out of those 3? And you and I kind of discussed it, too. And we both said we think Garfield was the best all around out of all of them, and Garfield is in this spot again, and they've made it to this next step.
But it was funny because there were times when it was like, oh, Champion is right there.
Yeah,
Champion. It was like when Brookfield beat Liberty, it was like, well, Brookfield better be up there.
Champion and Brookfield were probably 11 and 12 respectively, or vice versa. Brookfield 11, Champion 12. I mean,
at the end of the day, it was all about, like you said, the eye test kind of showed you that out of those 3, Garfield was a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more of a complete team, and they kind of proved it against Champion in the district championship because it was that completeness that let them win that game by the margin that they did. Both, like I said during Coach Gilbert's interview, both superstars kind of went off. Ava Howe scored 22 for Champion. Jenna Smith still scored 19 for Garfield. It was the secondary players. It was your Sydney Siemens. It was your Caitlin Lusk. It was Madeline Shirky. Putting in points for Garfield, important points. And then for Champion, it was Ava Howe and Dodrell. Those were the only 2 in double figures, and they just couldn't get secondary scorers involved in their offense.
Champion will be back there again. Brookfield will be too.
It was Hal and Meyer in double figures.
Yeah. Bella Meyer, yeah, of course. But I mean, there's so many great coaches in that side of the MVAC and all of the MVAC. So expect these teams to be there again. You're going to have to be. You're going to have to keep sharpening your teeth with iron if you want to survive in this conference too, because we know the ones that weren't at the tops are going to step up too. Camel's always lurking. Newton Falls is absolutely always lurking too in basketball. So there's always teams to watch out for in the MVAC.
Yeah, I like that you brought up Newton Falls. They're kind of lurking.
Newton
Especially
Falls always has
the-
best basketball programs, boys and girls side too. Coach Sembach does a great job. And
This year for the boys team, I think this is like their year where they kind of in the shadows a little bit. And I think next year people are going to understand that program's not going away. Like they took a little bit of lumps because they lost so many seniors last year. But, they took Camel pretty deep this year once. And I think next year when they have those kids in the second year of a program, I think they're going to be back to where they were.
I was going to say, only 3 games this season has Camel been held under 60 points. Once it was Louisville, twice to Newton Falls. So Newton Falls and Coach Sembach still coach up a really good defensive team too, and they try to make you work hard for every bucket that you get too. So credit to Newton Falls for always having good, solid programs.
Boardman boys getting some love
90th
from EJ Yokley or whatever it is, the 90th.
Boardman boys are moving on. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
AAC, man, tough.
They took full advantage of that home court advantage. It's redundant, but
I think a few people started opening their eyes to AAC basketball now in this area and just realized that this is a tougher conference too. And I mean, the records of the teams inside the AAC aren't the prettiest, but that's because they all beat up on each other. I think every single one had at least 2 wins inside the conference this year, albeit it's a 5-team conference. But Fitch beating a 6-seeded in Dover too, that was a big win. I think Ravenna was a solid team that Canfield beat. They got to move on. Boardman now 2 in a row that they've won. Harding continuing to win. I mean, these are all great. And then Howland beating Struthers now too. I mean,
look, 3 out of the 5 teams are alive because Harding's still alive in D1, Boardman's still alive in D1, and then Howland's still alive in D2. And then the other 2 had opportunities to win. I mean, that's all you can really ask for in a game is to put yourselves with a chance to win the game, and Fitch had opportunities to win the game. There was a close game against Aurora, and Canfield absolutely had opportunities to beat Louisville. So, basketball is not always going to go your way in those close games, and Fitch has learned that the hard way. But you'll look at it, and all 5 teams, you could say, very well could have been still alive right now.
Fitch gave us, I think, the biggest upset we have under our network this season, right? Out of our team.
Yeah.
I mean,
28 beating a 6, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And according to Max Preps, which you take that for what it's worth, it was 156 in the state in Division 1 against 6 in the state. So
just goes to show you, especially in D1, anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
Given night.
That's
they call it the movies any given Sunday, but I guess in basketball you just have to go any given whatever day they're playing.
I just said I love football. I do. I love calling football, and everyone will say any given Friday night with high school sports, and that's very well true. But I bid you that basketball is any given night because it does not matter who the team. It's all matchups. It's all matchups. We're
going to take our first break of the day because it's been a minute and we have to pay some bills. But we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And we continue this Monday edition. We just had a lot of fun talking to 3 district champion coaches as we had John Matizzi, Aaron Gilbert, and Walter Shields all on the show. We appreciate their time, and we look forward to also hopefully getting Coach Watson and Coach Hamilton featured on YSN at some point before their regional final games, as well, as we are so excited for the 5 girls teams that are still playing in the regionals. Let's get back to the Division 4 finals and the boys from Friday night real quick, because we stopped at Division 3 and we want to give all these final scores some updates. Warren JFK beat Fairport 83-62, big win for the Eagles. Wellsville, they beat Reserve, a big game. I mean, Western Reserve put up a heck of a fight. You could argue that if Western Reserve had David Altier in that lineup, it could have been an upset win for Reserve.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, that's the biggest thing with Reserve, is that when Gabe Platt and David Altier have been healthy, that's been the biggest point this season is what they can be able to do scoring wise with Platt from not only the perimeter but also mid range and driving, and Altier being a shot blocker and rebounding threat. I mean, those two really made all the difference. It was just trying to get them all healthy at the same time, and unfortunately, Reserve just didn't have a lineup that was 100%, but they still gave it a fighting effort.
Oh man, it was a really good game down in Wellsville, but the Tigers do move on. We go to Louisville. They got the win over Valley Christian, 54-29. Rockets roll their way into districts. They'll play Heartland, 57-56. The Lions hit free throws to win the game, and big win for the Lions. I remember just a little bit ago they lost to Brookfield in the regular season, and then they welcome in Brookfield into Heartland Christian, and that game was bonkers good. And Brookfield had their last shot. I believe the shot they took was short. They got an offensive rebound, tried to kick it out to the corner, but the three in the corner wasn't released in time. The buzzer went off before the shot went off. Didn't go in anyway. Heartland gets the win. Everyone went nuts. Mark Franken was right in the middle, and it was like Brookfield fans on his left, Heartland fans on his right. He must have had to have like a plexiglass box around him to keep from the elation and devastation of the two sides that were surrounding him.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a great win for Heartland, too. They've had a few of those wins this year, too. And don't forget, Lions have beaten Louisville this season, too, in head-to-head competition.
And,
so makes this matchup all the more interesting.
Program came into this season with no tournament wins. They have two now, both coming in the sectionals. Now they'll head to districts for the first time, obviously, in program history.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an insane matchup between Heartland and Louisville. And I mean, just having the scores that both teams do, this is going to be a fun one. And Heartland now all of a sudden has a chance to make it all the way to the regionals. And that's going to be huge. And just being able to be there in this regional semi, I mean, this would be a huge, absolutely huge for Heartland Christian.
I think bonkers is going to be our new word. I just said it and it leaked its way into the comment section too. So bonkers, man. It's going to be bonkers. Heartland Louisville, going to be bonkers.
Trying to make it last, Anthony. You're going to make it a trend.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a trend. It's not like Badger got the thrilling win over Lisbon, coming back in the fourth quarter from being down. And a lot of people on Badger's side thought this is the end of our season. I mean, it did not look good. It looked bleak. But Badger comes back and wins 46-42. I want to get I think they outscored Lisbon 17-6 in the fourth quarter, but I want to double check and make sure that his numbers are right. They definitely outscored Lisbon by a good margin in the fourth quarter.
The thing too with Badger is just the height that they have. Is
17-6. Badger won the fourth quarter to win that game.
It's like if you need to get Badger on nights too where they're not shooting well because they have so much height for Division 4 too. It makes things so much more difficult in trying to stop them defensively. It makes things so much more difficult in trying to stop them in the rebounding department or trying to at least battle and win the rebounding department because on top of the height too, these are good rebounders. These are guys that know their position. They play good IQ basketball. And we know what Badger and Heartland brought this season too. And the fact that we might get those two in a region. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a fun game when Badger played Heartland in the regular season. So if that was our district championship, bonkers.
Yeah, could absolutely be our district championship.
Lindac had 25 for the Braves, and then Richards kicked in with 13 in double figures as well in that game for Badger over Lisbon.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing too, Badgers looked really good down the stretch, and they're peaking at the right time. They're pretty healthy now at this time too, which is the big key. And watch out for the Braves in the playoffs.
Hunter Daly had 21 for Lisbon, and Sifke had 15. So they finished their season strong in Lisbon, and it was a good game. It was a good game. Like I said, Badger outscored the Blue Devils 17-6 in the fourth quarter, and they got that win.
Basketball is a game of runs, Anthony, and that's the one everyone's going to look at.
Absolutely. Yeah, how many coaches have told us that, by the way, this year? That basketball is a game of runs, and it's all going to be about who makes the last one. I mean, you'd think it'd be common knowledge, but
it's usually one or two that you could really point out that make all the difference in ball games too. It's one or two huge key runs that make big differences in ball games.
And you'll look at Badger. They're going to play St. Thomas Aquinas, who scored 91 points in their sectional championship game over Urban Scholars, 91-60.
I feel like St. Thomas Aquinas, at least on the boys' side, is one we've always heard the name pop up for as far as basketball is concerned. So they do a great job. I don't get the reference, EJ Folkley, the 90th.
I'm lost.
So does Zoe 101. I love that he's bringing in pop culture too. That 2003 to 2009 era. But he's the 90th. I wonder where that fits on the whole grand scheme of thing. Who's CJ Folkley the first, and where does he fit in the whole history of the world?
Oh man, Zoe 101.
Big Dynasty China, the 90th. Jeez.
Bringing in early 2010s Nickelodeon shows and
yeah. What are we doing? I knew the show. I don't get the reference.
No, I don't. I can't think of that episode. Like, not ringing a bell.
But we appreciate the comments.
We appreciate the comments as always,
Mr. Folkley.
You catch this one up here about updates on The Bachelorette
from John Rotesta. Rotesta.
Johnny Rowe.
And a picture that looks oddly familiar to somebody else with a very, very similar name.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about.
We're talking about Roe.
Roe. Yeah.
R-O.
Roe knows.
Roe absolutely knows.
When you go into the stages are set for district championships, and we got 4 of them tonight in boys basketball. So I guess we should go in and talk about these matchups, Ty. Garfield versus Springfield at Salem for the first game on the slate, just going down the schedule from top to bottom. This is a Garfield team that has dang good athletes. And maybe the first challenge of the tournament really for Springfield. They've kind of been able to lackadaisically get through their first 2 steps. And now here come the teams that have the chance to beat them.
The thing that's going to be interesting in this game is just the physicality of the whole.
Yeah.
Because both of these teams are football heavy athletes as well. Have a lot of football athletes that are on the basketball team, and you're going to see these two-way teams. Drake and Josh fan. Yeah, you got it. Hit the nail on the head with the silver hammer. I'm talking about it though. These are 2 very physical teams, and when you got guys like Bo Brungar and Anthony Demo on the same squad or on the same court, you're going to get that kind of physical nature. And I mean, that's going to be really what's interesting too, is seeing those battles down low, because that's going to be key rebounding battles as well too. And the one who kind of wins that one, I think Garfield's key to victory is through those rebounding battles. If they control the glass, I think they could really limit Springfield's offense.
Unlike me, you've seen Garfield this season play. What kind of matchups do you think they have for Springfield that they can take advantage of?
I'm curious to see who Anthony Dema's going on defensively. That's going to be a big one for me, because he is a capable 20-point scorer, but I mean, just his rebounding and physical nature down low, defensive wise.
That makes you think he goes on Rothwell, right?
I would think Rothwell. The only other one you could really put him on that to match physicality wise, I would think, is maybe Brungard, just because of what Bo is able to do. But
that's a football matchup everyone would love to see.
Everybody would love to see that football matchup. But the only thing is, I'm just not sure if Dema's as quick on that first step, if he's going to be able to react to Bo's first step, because Bo is deceptively quick on the basketball court, and his first step can beat a lot of people if they're not expecting it.
Springfield back in Salem and back in regional. Remember last year we couldn't have districts in the neutral spots, so good to see Salem back and hosting the boys districts, and that place gets rocking. If you've never been to a boys district game in Salem, get down there tonight, because that place gets the atmosphere in Salem is kind of unique when that place gets packed.
I've never been to the Cab, but I've heard it's a fantastic place to.
Great venue. It's a great venue.
I hope to experience it at that venue at some point. We'll go to the Cab.
The another game tonight going on. This one will be down in Howland, and it is LeBray versus Jefferson. Woo, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, and the winner is going to go play the winner of Middlefield Cardinal and Camel tomorrow. So this is part 1 of the district final matchup, and we might get LeBray Camel round 3. We could see Cardinal pull off an upset too. You never know what could happen, but we could also see a unique Jefferson Camel matchup too. So I mean, a lot of excitement coming out of this one. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think both these teams can run through the gym doors, and it's going to be interesting to see what's
we were thinking about matchups for Garfield against Springfield. Bobby Ray is he's lanky, he's tall, he's hard to guard, and he can shoot in the perimeter. I know LeBray definitely has the athletes to stay with him, but like guarding that kind of height on the perimeter, like LeBray's not exceptionally tall, especially on their guard play. Like Aiden Stevens a freak, but he's not lengthy.
Yeah, and I think the thing with this too, both of these teams, I believe, are the only. I think there's 3 teams that we've seen on the boys' side score 90 or more in games this season, and I think both these 2 teams have done it. And I think LeBray scored 97, which was the highest mark I think we've seen, I believe.
Didn't Northfield get in the 90s too?
Did Heartland score over 100?
Yeah, they did in the first.
Heartland scored over 100. That was the highest one. I think LeBray was the second.
Berdovich had 50.
And then Jefferson scored, I think, either 90 or like 91 this season against an opponent. So, I mean, these are
in the 80s plenty of times too.
Yeah, these are offenses that can start running. Defense is going to be interesting to see. Who's going to be able to slow down the other high-flying offense just enough to gain an advantage?
And Jefferson had 79 in their win over Conneaut too.
They're both offenses that.
But remember, like this is a LeBray team that held Springfield to, I want to say 55. I think it was 56-55 the final score. So like not a slouch on defense by any means. I just don't think like this. Just looking at their height wise, I don't know if they can guard Bobby Ray one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup to say the least. And you know what? Props to Jefferson and the Falcons for making it this far. We didn't get a whole lot of chances to talk about them this regular season. They've kind of flown under the radar. And I mean, I guess if you're a Falcon, that's exactly what you want to be doing is flying under the radar undetected because they just swooped in and they grabbed their prey. And they're a couple steps away from being district champions right now. Falcons having a great tournament run right now.
I don't. This would have to go into a couple of overtimes, but we'd be for it.
Always Rotesto with the fantastic picks.
Rotesto's got some hot takes.
You want to talk about Rotesto?
He should be on the radio.
Exactly. 130 to 128. Oh my God! You imagine seeing 258 points of offense at a
total.
At a boys' high school basketball game.
It might break the state record for like tournament game.
Like no OT, like a 4-quarter, 8-minute quarter. Like you're scoring in seconds.
You'd have to like both go up to each other and just be like, you know what, guys, we're just gonna score. We're gonna try to score, back off the defense a little bit. Let's have some fun.
It's literally NBA All-Star level officiating where there's just no officials on the floor. They're just no fouls are being called.
Their officiating is basically the honor system, so players call their own fouls.
Oh, it's like back in like the old rules. It's gentlemen's rules. You got to call your own fouls too. Oh my! I love that. I love that the brothers. The brothers have different last names always in our comment section.
It's like EJ Folkley is a brother. EJ Yoakley Folkley is a brother of what?
It's the same first name,
DJ
but it's
Folkley.
a different last name. Usually just one letter changed. But that's my brother. I have a completely different last name that sounds similar except for one letter. My first name's the same as my brother's, but that's my brother.
What kind of Doctor Strange multiverse of madness are we kind of in right now?
Our comment section is something else, is what
Let's
it
move
is.
on to the other game happening tonight: Wellsville versus Warren JFK. What do you think about this one? Because I'm trying to rack my brain, and I know as far as strength of schedule wise, Warren JFK has the edge here. But watching Wellsville on Friday night against Western Reserve, I'm not taking anything away from those kids. They know how to win games. They know how to make clutch plays. They made so many clutch plays down the stretch against Western Reserve. I'm not going to count them out at all, even though Warren JFK is obviously going to be the favorite because of what they've done and what they've done in their past and what they did last year in basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, JFK is going to be a favorite, but you can never count out Coach Bug Thompson and what he's done with that program down there. 300 wins in his career. I mean,
brothers.
That's incredible. Half brothers. There you go. There you go. But
that's making like a Step Brothers spoof called Half Brothers.
Half brothers.
Yeah, man.
I think, but no, I think Wellsville JFK is going to be an interesting matchup. You can never count out Coach Thompson. He always does a great job with the Tigers, and it should be a great one. And JFK is going to put up a great fight. I think JFK is the favorite in this one, but do not count out Wellsville at all. I think this one's going to be a sneaky fun matchup.
So this comment on I'm not going to bring it up, but it is a perfect segue into making sure that you are not buying any of the links that people post, or if you're not buying stuff from ysnlive.com and it's not right off our site, be careful what you're paying for. We've had some problems. We definitely had some problems in football season. We can't control what gets advertised on our site. It's based on the Google algorithm on what your search history is. When you're paying for your games tonight and you're buying the $9.99 one, make sure it's $9.99 because our price never changes. It's always $9.99, and make sure you know where you're buying it from. I'm not going to bring up the comment, but there are Facebook comments all over the place trying to get you to follow a link to get a stream. They're fake. Don't follow them. If you don't recognize the name, definitely don't follow them. Just try to be a little bit cautious of these times because everyone wants to watch these tournament games, and unfortunately, there are definitely people that will take advantage of that on the internet. So be very careful. Please buy from us if you're going to buy a game, and make sure you definitely know what you're paying for.
Yeah, ysnlive.com/live will get you taken care of every single day. You could go to that. That one's refreshed daily too for the games that we have.
I guess we'll bring this out because we had some scroll past the sponsors. There's a green box that says purchase your online ticket for $9.99. Click that. There were some people that clicked on like the Score Stream game, and that took them to Score Stream at the top of our page is not affiliated with YSN, so clicking on that won't get you anywhere productive. Scroll past our sponsors. It's a little green box that says purchase your online ticket for $9.99, and make sure you're clicking on what you're supposed to be clicking on.
Yeah, and I mean it's been incredible this season to just see the number of fakes that go out there too. So you got to be careful in what you're spending too. And we obviously don't want you getting yourself tied up into situations like that. So yeah, ysnlive.com/live. Scroll past our sponsors. We got you taken care of.
There are funny fake accounts like this one with DJ Yoakley Folkley. It's all good and fun. Then the spam fake accounts that want you to trick you into money, which aren't fun at all and should not be given any attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last game tonight, it is Heartland Christian versus Louisville taking place in Struthers. By the way, that Wellsville JFK game going on in Grand Valley. This one going on in Struthers. And like we said, it's a rematch. Heartland beat Louisville before. Is that an advantage for them or a disadvantage? I mean, we always say it's hard to beat a team twice. But Heartland has confidence coming into this game knowing we've done it. They're beatable. They're not this unbeatable force.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing too with basketball season is you get everything kind of gets exposed and you kind of realize everything in a second too. Once tournament starts, it's a whole different ball game. Everything tightens up, and we see defenses get a lot tougher to score against, and we see the offensive superstars need to put a lot more points on their backs.
I know this is kind of cliche because it's basketball, but I think this game in particular, you're going to come down to just who hits shots. I mean, both teams have multiple players that can get their own shot off the dribble at will. And at the end of the day, you let the ball go and you really have no control over whether it goes in or not. You can control it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's a toss-up of whether it goes in or not. So this game, I think, is something that strictly come down to who hits their shots. I know that's kind of a bland breakdown of a basketball game because every basketball game technically comes down to that. But when you look at this game and they have such good offensive players and players that are hard to defend, who's going to get more shots to fall is going to be the key.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, that's just that's going to be the end of the stretch with basketball season. But I mean, you just got to see who steps up on offense too, which role players step up are big too. But it's mostly defense too at this point. You got to be straight up on your assignments too. You got to know where you got to be too, and you got to be smart IQ defense.
What do you think about this one?
Hey, they won. They're here. I mean, you can't deny what's existing and what's reality right now. I mean, they are. They absolutely deserve to be here because they won. They beat the teams in front of them that were put in front of them. They had to pick their paths too. They didn't have the choice of the best path, but they picked the path that they got, and they've beaten every team that's come up in front of them. So absolutely, both teams deserve to be here.
And just to list the announcers that will be at the games tonight for you, Anthony Romo will be in Salem covering the Garfield versus Springfield game. We'll have Brian Oatridge and Noah Ricks both at Howland covering LeBray versus Jefferson. Wellsville JFK being handled by Dom O'Brien, and then Heartland Christian at Louisville versus Louisville. In Struthers, we'll have Mark Franken on the call in the Field House, which if you're heading down there and you haven't had popcorn from the Field House, get it because it hits different. I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, wait. You went to watch that district semifinal. Did you get some popcorn?
I absolutely did. I did.
Please tell me you know that it hits different. Like it's different popcorn.
It is. It's a really good popcorn for sure.
Thank you. Ty, you haven't been able to back me up on that for a while because you're
I
like,
know.
yeah,
I'll
I've been
back
there
you
for
up.
a
It's
game.
a good popcorn. It is. It's a good popcorn.
There you go. From Ty's mouth. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to play that player profile with Sydney Mercer, the senior of West Branch, and then we'll be back from that to wrap up the show. Don't go anywhere. On Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air,
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. And as promised, we are going to hear this pre-recorded interview with one of two West Branch seniors on the girls basketball team as they get ready for their regional semifinal tomorrow. It is Sydney Mercer joining me yesterday as a player profile. You can see it also on ysnlive.com. We're going to play it for you, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap today's show up and preview what we got on tomorrow. So enjoy and hear from Sydney Mercer, a senior from West Branch girls basketball. Oh, got him turned that.
For having me.
And let's just start this off. District champion, and how's it feel when you hear that again?
Honestly, it's like a dream come true. It makes me so happy.
I mean, this is a team that has won 6 district championships now in the last 10 years. But it was a different feeling last night. You guys came in as maybe the underdogs in people's eyes. You weren't the top seed in this district. You lost to Marlington in the regular season. You know, they've kind of had your number. Mentally coming into this game, what was the mentality of you guys, and how did you kind of handle the quote-unquote underdog status that you had last night?
Honestly, we just had to know that we had all the support behind us. Our community is obviously very supportive, and our defense was something we were very, even if we're not shooting the ball well, even if we're not scoring as easy as we could, our defense just had to be there.
Do you think playing defense against this particular team was a little bit easier because you knew exactly what they ran and you'd seen them so much in the last 2 years, and there were really no secrets between you and Marlington? Was it easier to square them up a little bit?
I mean, they are respectfully still a very great team, and I will never take that away from them, but playing them more and more has helped us, yes, play defense on them.
Let's talk about you as a senior coming into this year, a multiple sport athlete, volleyball, basketball, then you'll start softball when this basketball journey is over. Talk about what it's like to kind of be a leader on each of these teams and to go into your senior season knowing that every time you take the floor for whatever sport you're in, it could be the last time, and how you've handled kind of being a senior leader.
I mean, it is kind of crazy because everyone's looking up to you. When things are going wrong, they're looking to you, but you just have to keep composed and calm, and that will keep everybody else calm and composed. So, I mean, that's really what I take with me whenever I step on the court or field.
Unlike the other two sports, volleyball and softball, you do a lot of more dirty work in basketball, stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, stuff that, I bet sports reporters don't really notice, or if you're not at the game, you don't notice. You're a kills leader in volleyball, you hit home runs in softball, but you get rebounds and you do a lot of dirty work on defense on basketball. What's it like to kind of switch mentalities and not have to be the quote unquote statistical leader on the basketball floor, but be a more of an energy leader and an emotional leader for this team?
I mean, that's kind of a very important role, in my eyes. I mean, getting rebounds or not letting your girls score is almost like points for you on your stat sheet. So if a girl's averaging 20 points a game and you hold her to 10, then you just scored 10 points.
We got to talk about Walter Shields and what it's like being under this guy. I mean, we talked to him so much. He's considered a legend by so many coaches in the area. I mean, what has it been like being blessed enough to be under him for 4 years? And what has he taught you, not just about basketball, but about yourself as a person?
I mean, yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about him. He has really taught us that, to do things for the person beside you, not for yourself. And that I've carried into every single sport. And he has been one of the best coaches I've ever had for 4 years.
You guys had an awesome moment as he was able to put the medal around your neck, and talk about that moment between you and him and what it was like to have Coach DeShields kind of bestow that district championship medal on you. And I know it had to feel pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it did, because just looking at his face and seeing him smile, like, it just makes it all worth it. And everything that we've worked for this entire season just makes it worth it.
Talk about the senior class as a whole and how you guys have grown as leaders and how you guys have kind of grown in chemistry and what the dynamic between the senior class is on this team.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of seniors. There was once a lot of us. So, I mean, we've kind of grown up together and learned how to work together, because even when we were in 7th and 8th grade, we had to work together because, I mean, a lot of girls didn't play throughout freshman year. So I think that's definitely made us grow very close because we were like the only 2 in our class.
I know we've asked you before and you said whatever sport you're in is the one that you love at the moment. So talking about basketball, what is it about the basketball sport that you love so much? And when did you kind of pick up this love for basketball that you do have?
Honestly, I love that it's like a team sport. I love that it's not just individual, like track, or maybe it doesn't put you on the spot like softball. Or I like how it's just everyone has to be part of it to win a game. Like, you can't just have somebody playing great. Like, you all have to play great and together.
And now you guys are going to make a trip down to Barberton for the regionals. What's this next couple of days going to be like for you guys? What's the mentality going to be like to celebrate this win, but then have to put it away and focus on the next game that you have in front of you?
I mean, honestly, that is what it comes down to, is we just have to put that behind us, because just like you have to brush losing off, you really have to just brush a good win off too and focus on the opponent we have next. So that's very important for us to be very concentrated these next few days.
There was a lot of celebration last night. What was kind of your favorite moment with all the elation last night? I know you had a lot of memories probably shared with all your teammates. What was one of the favorite moments that you had from last night?
Honestly, it was probably when WD was cutting down our net and winging it around like he always does. That just makes everyone happy.
I know you guys got to celebrate a little bit as a team, outside of the hoopla in that gym too. What was it like as this team kind of getting together and celebrating what they just accomplished, kind of away from everybody else?
It is always crazy and a good time. Like, as soon as we hit the locker room, like, it is so loud I can't even hear myself think. It's crazy in there.
Let's talk about this league that you're in and how much it prepared you. Obviously, you had to play Marlington twice in the regular season. Salem's still alive in the regionals as well. You have to play them twice. How much do you think your schedule and the schedule that Walt puts together for West Branch really prepares you for moments like last night?
Honestly, I would say that it really prepares us. Our league is no joke. Like, we know that every year that we step onto the court for especially league games, that we're going to have to put our all forth, because, I mean, the league was most of the top 5, I think, seeds. So we know that we have to put just as much energy forth towards our league as we do any other people.
Who are some of your role models that you kind of look up to, especially along your journey when you were a younger kid, that kept you going through this whole athletics journey?
I mean, my mom and my dad, obviously, and really Coach DeShields, because when I was a freshman, I wasn't really even going to play basketball in high school. I was kind of just going to stick to volleyball and softball. And then after talking to him a lot, then I decided to play. So honestly, I have to give that to him.
We can't let you go without talking about, because we didn't get to catch you up with volleyball. We missed you, and you made the decision to play volleyball at the next level at Mountain Union. I know it was kind of a toss-up. You were struggling between volleyball and softball, which one you were going to choose to play. Talk about what made it stick with volleyball, and then what was so special about Mountain Union that you wanted to go there.
Well, I mean, as far as playing volleyball in college, I think I actually am going to play volleyball and softball at Mountain Union.
Well, there you go, dang.
The reason why I really liked it is because my parents and my grandparents and my family could come and watch me, and I just know that playing far away, they wouldn't be able to see me in person as much, and that kind of meant a lot to me. And I'm very much of a home body. Like, I really like staying at home, so if I ever need to come home, it's 30 minutes away from me.
Well, let's talk about this, playing 2 sports in college and trying to do that. What I mean, that's going to be awesome. Time management and everything. What are you looking forward to most of trying to do this?
I mean, it will definitely keep me busy. Like, I'll never be bored. So I think it will honestly keep me on schedule, because now I know I I procrastinate kind of in high school, which isn't good, but high school isn't as intense as college. So I know I'll have to go to practice, come home, do my homework. And like, I can't just take a break. I can't procrastinate. I'm going to have to do it.
What has been some of your favorite, since we're talking about your schoolwork and maybe a little bit of a procrastinator, but still, favorite subjects that you've taken throughout your high school career and maybe some teachers that have really impacted your journey through high school at West Branch?
I would definitely say probably math has been one of my favorite subjects. And I had a really good math teacher in my junior year, and her name is Mrs. Solak, and she is a very good teacher. She's really made me like math.
When you look at what you want to do in your future at Mount Union, other than, obviously play volleyball and softball, what are the majors you're looking at? What kind of things do you want to go and get educated about and try to kind of get a job in after you graduate in Mount Union?
Honestly, I'm kind of undecided with that part. I mean, I've been thinking about business and then going to cosmetology school when I get out of college, but I'm really not sure with that. My passion has always been sports, so it's really hard to pick something that's not playing sports.
Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, you got to have a passion for sports if you're going to go play two of them in college. When you look at your memories at West Branch, when you graduate, and you have to reflect. What have been some of your favorite memories with this school system and this your whole journey that you've had as a Warrior?
I would definitely say sports. West Branch sports, obviously I wouldn't know how other schools are, but West Branch sports, it's always just felt like such a family. Every team I'm on, it doesn't matter whether it's basketball, softball, volleyball, the coaches have done such a great job of making us a family. And during the off season, we're constantly hanging out. And that's honestly how I've made most of my friends, is through sports. So I would definitely say that has been one of the major things of my West Branch history.
Not just your teams being family, but one of the things that we noticed real quick is the whole athletics kind of unit is a family. There were so many other athletes at your game last night rocking either their own jerseys or rocking that green. What's it like to be a part of an athletic community that every sport kind of is treated like a big happy family?
That just makes it that makes it all worth it. You look at those people supporting you and being there for you, and it's just we support other sports and other people, and they come and support us, so it's just goes both ways.
All right, Cindy, before we let you go, regionals on Tuesday, what is going to be the key to this West Branch team getting a couple of wins and then making that trip down to Dayton?
Honestly, what I always say, it's going to be getting defense, playing calm, not turning the ball over, and making shots that matter.
And like we do with all of our players to end their interviews, I want to give you the time to shout out your support system, people that are always there for you, and the people that you couldn't do any of this without.
I would like to shout out my parents, my sisters, and Coach DeShields, Mrs. DeShields, softball coaches, all of them, all my coaches.
All the coaches.
Yes.
Even the travel coaches, right?
Right.
Sydney, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It was great to catch up with you, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon. We'll catch up with you for softball season.
Oh, yes. Can't wait.
That was a sit down with West Branch senior Sydney Mercer as she gets ready for the regional semifinal tomorrow, along with her teammates, Anthony Hartwig with Ty Bartell. Baby. There he is.
Sorry, catching up on emails here.
As we wrap up this show on a Monday, thank you so much for joining us. We want to thank the coaches that took their time to come on the show today. John Matese from Springfield, Aaron Gilbert from Garfield, and then of course Walt DeShields from West Branch. I know especially him. He's got one day to prepare for this game, so he was able to give us a fraction of his time today. We thank him so much, and the other coaches. And then we want to remind everybody that tonight, 4 district semifinals on the boys' side. $9.99 gets you access to all 4 of the games, and the 4 games happening: Garfield versus Springfield at Salem, and Anthony Romo will be on the call there. All these games tipping off at 7 o'clock. LeBray versus Jefferson, and this one at Howland will be called by Brian Oatridge and Noah Ricks. And you have Wellsville versus Warren JFK, 7 o'clock at Grand Valley. Dom O'Brien making the trip there. And then Heartland Christian versus Louisville at Struthers, 7 o'clock. Mark Franken with the call on that one. As Ty, you got some love from Pops?
Yeah, not broadcasting tonight, Pops. Not tonight. I'll be there. You'll get me tomorrow. But as far as the guests for tomorrow, we got Coach Deidre Watson. That's confirmed for tomorrow. We'll get a time for that as we get her confirmed. But she's coming on tomorrow, and also Carrie Palermo from Mooney basketball coming on tomorrow. Looking at 140 for Carrie Palermo tomorrow. So
awesome.
Mooney boys, Liberty girls, and we're also going to try to work in Camel boys if we can as well with Coach Canarino. So. You never know what can happen on Running Point.
You gotta stay up on our socials. We'll promote it, and if we get any more guests confirmed between tonight and tomorrow, we'll let you know. Sometimes we get guests confirmed during the show.
Yeah, you never know. So anything could happen.
Watson and Palermo confirmed for tomorrow. Maybe a couple others. Who knows? Stay tuned. We're taking a 22-hour break. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. On the Power Hour today, you're going to hear from Brian Tolnar, the golf guru that we love having on during golf season. He'll make his triumphant return to Running Point here in the spring a little bit, but giving DJ an interview on Power Hour today from 3 to 4. Don't miss that sit down with Tolnar.
You need to, if you haven't seen Brian Tolnar interviews too, I mean, he's a great golf guru too, for especially local golf.
Love to talk about golf. It's an easy interview.
He does a phenomenal job too with golf in the area too, with veterans and with all kinds of local communities. So I mean, we thank Brian for everything he does. We love being a partner with Mill Creek Golf and can't wait to get him back on Running Point. But until then, you get a little taste on Power Hour today with DJ.
And we'll see you tomorrow from 12 to 2.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good night. Purchase some district semifinal games, or better yet, go out there and support these local teams. Get that Salem gym packed like he used to. I remember Waterloo and Springfield 2 years ago before the COVID shut everything down. That gym, I don't think there was a place to